All right, hey, what's going on, guys? This is Gohan6425 with.
Hello, everybody. It is me, the Super Saiyan Ender.
All right, and today we're gonna talk about the recent death battle between Toph versus Gaara. It's considered one of the controversial battles for all the other battles that they've done. I personally thought they got this accurately done. What do you think?
I basically disagree with that. Like, I just want to bring up, I have not watched all of Naruto's videos, and freaking Avatar was my childhood, okay? Avatar, I love that thing to death. But, I just feel like they got it wrong from what I've seen from Gaara. I think Gaara's so fun, but, you know.
Okay, now, I just want everyone to know, because a lot of people have been calling me an Avatar fanboy. I like the Naruto show better than Avatar. I like both shows, but Naruto's my third favorite overall show, and there was no indication where I was playing bietism towards Toph or anything like that. I just picked Toph based on what I knew from both characters. This is the first death battle where I knew both characters really good, and I really thought Toph would win, and of course she ended up winning, which kind of was a miracle on my part, because usually death battle kind of doesn't agree with me, but this time they actually did, so it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I just want to say, if any of you have seen my channel, I know he has. I've had comments on that one video, like, I've had 500 views and over 500 views on that video, and I've definitely gotten a lot of people mad at that one video. But, I just want to say, I'm not trying to show, I'm sorry if it looked like I showed favoritism towards one character. I'm just saying that I think they did it wrong.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, I basically love Naruto, not as much as Avatar, because Avatar is the first thing that really got me started. Because I knew Avatar was basically the American version of anime. And that was honestly the closest thing I had to an anime at the beginning. So I really love the show. And, I'm not trying to say that I don't like Avatar. I love that game. I love that series to pieces. I'm just saying that from what I've seen from freaking Gaara, that he would win. But no, that's my own opinion there.
Yeah.
So, let's start with each other's facts.
Okay, well, first we know, because I just want to bring this up because a lot of people have used these arguments. Why didn't Death Battle use Part 1 Gaara, like the tuning exam Gaara from like Naruto continuity, and then just use Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender continuity, and not count not count Legends of Korra Toph? Well, I want to tell you guys that it doesn't matter, because in Naruto Shippuden, it's still a time skip. Like, people are saying, oh, well, that's like 70 years later in Legends of Korra, and it's only 3 years later with Gaara's timeline for Naruto Shippuden. The fact of the matter is, it's still a new show. So if you're going to use Shippuden continuity, you have to allow Toph to use her continuity from the other from her secondary show as well. And that's why they did it. So there was nothing like I thought that was wrong to do, because they've done that in the past before. It's not like they haven't done that with other characters before, where they used all their canon continuity and still have them appear as their most famous appearance, because they were like, oh, well, she was 12 years top, so she shouldn't have had the abilities she had from when she was like 88 or whatever. And it was like, no, they were combining all their canon continuity together and then just using their best, well-known form. And that's what they did. So I didn't think that was wrong for them to do that.
Yeah. What I do think, though, it's like they sort of contradicted themselves, in my own opinion, because when they started, they were like, well, he has the Jinchuriki, like Gaara's Jinchuriki. Now, I was actually talking to you about this before. It might have been you or someone else. And, I don't know if it was you, but someone I was talking to said that would have counted as outside help. But technically, it's his power. Like, I see where you're coming from, because it's a tailed beast, of course. It's like not, but like it's basically the exact same thing that happened with Kirby versus Majin Buu.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, but they didn't use Super Buu. They didn't use Super Buu, which if they had used Super Boo, he would have beaten Kirby. So that's another discussion, though.
Yeah, I think Masamu himself would have beaten Kirby, but don't want to get too much hate on this video.
So yeah, it was really interesting because a lot of the things they did, it was self-explanatory because the Jinchuriki, we don't know because if it was outside help or was not outside help, but they didn't use it. I honestly, if they had used Shikaku, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made in this battle because I think Toph could have still taken Shikaku because Toph has taken down beasts before. It's not like this is going to be something, oh my god, this is so, tough to do. I mean, she could have still, earthbended him, and when you're Shikaku, it's no longer really Gaara, it's a beast. It's an uncontrollable beast. And it's like he's going to have all this rage and stuff, where Toph is going to have humanity and stuff, and she's going to have the powers to know how to control it and stuff like that, especially with all her bending abilities. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know how much of a difference that would have made in this battle if they had used Shikaku. But that's just my take on it.
Alright, here's another, if they use Shikaku, I think it's a little unfair for Toph, and, this is something I'm going to bring up here. They stated that she can bend pretty much almost every single metal out
except for platinum.
Yeah, except for platinum. In that case, she can bend water. In that case, she can bend, almost everything. Because everything has some sort of mental, sword or something, in the water. Because in that time, and even in the Avatar land, but even in that, dimension, there's still metals and things, in the water. So that means in that case, you'd be able to bend some sort of water, some sort of a lot of different things. So in that case, if she went up to the stars, she could have easily bended a star, So it's like.
If you watch, I don't know if you watched book 3 of or season 3 of Avatar: Last Airbender, but she did bend metal, or she did bend moon rock.
Oh yeah, she did bend moon rock, but I'm talking a full-on sun type star, That has metal in it. That has metal types in it, so that in that case she can bend a full-on fiery star, So it's just I didn't see that useful in the actual video. I found that they messed up a little bit on that too, because they messed up a little bit on Gaara's strengths. They once instantly Toph got him, they were like, oh, then Gaara's definitely dead. But that's not how Gaara is. Gaara's definitely a very good martial artist. He's not the type to just he knows how to fight even without his sand. You saw that. He's more agile than Rock Lee. He can.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Well, maybe not Rock Lee, but we know at least he can. We know he can at least. He's good at martial arts. We know that much. So for Toph to instantly get him, right? Instantly get him the second that his sand runs out. To me, that makes no sense. Plus, his sand can, if you remember, while fighting, I forgot his name. He was the one who can control bones. He was in the original Naruto series.
I think Madara. Are you talking about?
No, it's in the original Naruto.
Oh.
He was able to control bones, and right when we thought Gaara killed him, the guy who controlled bones came back to life and stated that would have killed me because that's enough to crush steel. If I didn't harden my bones in time, then it would have killed me.
Yeah.
So that means Gaara. I'll let you speak.
Yeah, I know the whole stronger than steel thing is up there, because he's got the whole sand coffin, sand burial. But again, with Toph, and this is the problem too, because Gaara has never faced a bender. He's never been able to face someone who is able to control the earth and control, bending arts. And the problem with that is when he got him in, when Gaara got Toph into the sand coffin, sand burial attack, I knew Toph would get out of it because one, Toph can sandbend, as we know, so she could have just she could sandbend like a hole and get out of there before the blast. And two, she can also metal bend like a whole metal thing around her body, and she can metal bend up to titanium. That was used in Legends of Korra for a few of the characters in that series in the sequel. So they can bend up to titanium. So that's another thing of why I knew the bending, the metal bending, the metal bending armor thing was going to protect her from the sand coffin, sand burial.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I haven't watched much of Legend of Korra. I have watched the original Avatar, and I love that thing to death. So I do know basic 12-year-old Toph's abilities. I do know, I know all that stuff. I just haven't watched much of Legend of Korra, so that's why I need you here, basically. Plus, we decided to make this video. Anyways, so, from what I can also tell from Gaara versus Toph here, that, okay, here's something that no one seemed to come up with. We have to realize that, okay, I know what you said about the time period thing, but let's say Gaara at the same age as Toph, right, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We have to realize that it took an Uchiha, a few other ninjas, and a Jinchuriki to beat Gaara as when he was younger. So, and obviously, and this is something people don't seem to bring up in any sort of battle, so obviously he has to be stronger than he was as a child, otherwise why wouldn't the world become the Kazekage?
Well, yeah, he was the Kazekage, yes. But that's more or less because the Sand Nation really didn't have a Kazekage anymore, and they didn't really have a really better ninja to be the Kazekage, which is the Hokage of the Sand Village. But the thing is, Toph could have been an Earth King if she really wanted to. She was the strongest Earthbender in the world and the best metal bender. Obviously, she discovered the art and started. I don't know if you read the secondary canon novels. Those were the aftermath of the Avatar series. They took place a year after the events, and she. I have not. Oh, you have not? Okay. Well, she started in the secondary canon novels a year after the events of the TV show Avatar: The Last Airbender. She came up with her own metal bending academy. So she was actually training, people how to metal bend, because she was the original metal bender. And so, and in the novels also, she fought King Bumi. She fought King Bumi to a draw. And you know how strong King Bumi is from the anime. And she stood in, both of those two ended up being in a draw. And King Bumi was 112 in the timeline. And Toph was only 12 years old, and she was at a draw with him. So she could have easily became king in her universe if she wanted to.
Yeah.
So,
really, we're comparing two characters who, the only difference is really the personality and the abilities. I mean, what they use to hurt each other, basically. That's the only real difference we can see here. But, just to see, let's compare their feats for a second. Since you obviously know a little bit more about Avatar than I do, because I have not read those novels, I've only really seen the anime, but since you know more than I do, let's just compare their feats for a second, and let's see which one has the better feats. Now, this won't conclude, obviously, that this one character is better than another, of course, unless, depending on who they competed. But, this definitely will conclude, how powerful each is. This won't conclude, their limit or anything. I'm just saying, let's compare their feats first. So, you can start with Toph.
Well, Toph, obviously we know she's the world's greatest earthbender. The original art of the metal bending. She can sand bend, and she can mud bend, as we've seen. So those are her traditional abilities that she can do. And she's got, obviously, the seismic sense, as we know, which can be bended off the ground. And I even knew that before Death Battle revealed that whole extra bubble thing, which if you had Nicktoons Network, I'm not sure if you have Nicktoons Network, the secondary or the sister channel to Nickelodeon, but they actually did do those episodes on Nicktoons Network where they actually showed all the episodes again, where they had all the did you know bubbles like inside them. That wasn't just like the one episode where they did it. They did it for all 3 seasons, where they remastered them with all those bubbles, did you know facts and stuff like in there. So that was another thing. So I don't know if you had Nicktoons Network, but they did show them on Nicktoons Network too. So besides the DVDs, with those, Toph, and that's the thing, with Toph, because she can metal bend, I thought that really gave her a huge edge, especially that she can sand bend, because Gaara, he can only, really in essence sand bend, even though it's not really sand bend in his universe, it's chakra stuff. But the whole argument, really, more or less, I hear all the time is that it's, oh, well, that's his mother's chakra, or that's his mother's sand, it's infused to his will or whatever, which it is in his universe, but in Avatar's universe, sandbender, or people that can sandbend can sand any sand. It doesn't matter if it's controlled or whatever, because as Death Battle stated, she can redirect attacks. And that's pretty much what she did when she took control of that sand at the last attempt Gaara did at the end of the battle. Was she was able to redirect it and take it away from her, and that's exactly what she did. So there was nothing really I thought that was wrong with them doing that, because again, sand is sand at the end of the day, even though it's Gaara's own sand, And then of course, with Gaara, his chakra infused. Or not his chakra infused, his armor, the sand armor that protects him. As this was stated by his brother in the tuning exam, that's his biggest weakness, is that takes a lot of chakra away from him to maintain that. And so I had no problem when he was out of chakra that Toph was able to go in there and kill him, because basically what we're talking about here now is that can Gaara last long enough to beat Toph, which he can't, because in the Naruto universe, there is a limit on what you can chakra at one sitting, where in the Avatar universe, there is no defined limit on what you can and can't bend, which, unless if you have a broken arm or something like that. But also another thing, and I'm sure you've seen this in the Avatar anime, was that King Bumi was able to, chin bend. He was able to earth bend with his chin or whatever when he was in that coffin, where you only seen his head and stuff like that. So you could even, since Toph is at the same level King Bumi's at, or even a little bit further, we could also argue and say that, if she's just as strong as King Bumi is in earth bending, then she probably will be able to do the same thing that King Bumi did.
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about. So what do you think?
Sand, it's still sand at the end of the day, and all those other facts, it's true that sand is still sand. Gaara's sand, besides the fact that it is in fact his sand, does not mean truly that, it does not truly mean that he can't, that Toph can't affect him at all. But at the end of the day as well, that doesn't mean that Gaara can't really stop her from affecting it, because you've seen all the time in Naruto where they try to use something that the character itself uses as a own ability, but they fail. We've seen that with many times. I believe. Oh wait, no, that's with Genjutsu. But I still do believe that he'd be able to control it in a certain way, and just like how you stated about him losing all his chakra, maybe he would lose most of his chakra, but there's still the fact where we've seen him, even if he does lose most of his chakra, that doesn't mean he can't, fight back, because what they basically stated in Screw Attack is that the second that he what was I about to say? the second that he loses all his chakra, he's instantly dead. Like, he doesn't know how to defend himself. Which, that's what got me angry. Because it's like, every ninja in Naruto, even, I forgot his name, but, every single ninja in Naruto knows how to fight back, even when, they lose all their chakra, you know? And it's just like, they basically said, no, Gaara is dead the second he loses all his chakra. Which, I mean, it handicaps him, of course. Because, the second that he loses all that chakra, it's like, you know, it's a weakness for him, because he can't use some of his abilities.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing.
But that doesn't mean at all that he can't fight back normally, because every ninja in Naruto has been trained like that, to just fight back, even when they lose some of their abilities.
But here's also another thing, is that Gaara's never really been in that situation either. Like, I mean, we've seen the situation with the Akatsuki, where they took him out, they took him out and kidnapped him, basically. But he's never been in a situation where he's completely really been totally out of chakra, and he's been in a situation where he's got to, use hand-to-hand combat to win. Because he's usually always relying on his mother's sand to protect him from not getting injured, or if that goes through, he uses the sand armor and stuff. He's never been in a situation where, Toph, being the way she is, persistent and, bending the way she is, and she can, she has no limit on what she can and can't do, because there is no limit on bending abilities with compared to chakras in Naruto. And that's the one thing where it's kind of, hard to say where, Gaara can win still, because we've really never seen him in hand-to-hand, that much of hand-to-hand combat, because most of the situations in his battles are always, he's always using the sand stuff. He's always using the sand attacks and stuff like that. So it's really hard to believe that even if he, ran out of chakra and was still able to put up somewhat of a fight, I think it would have been irrelevant at that point, because I still think eventually Toph would have got to him and, killed him at that point. Because as we've seen, he earthbend or Toph. I believe the way that Death Battle had Gaara get killed was Toph just earthbended the sand. I think she hardened the sand, and that's what killed him. I believe that's what they were going with in that concept. Yeah.
Well, here's what I see. Like, I read somewhere, even on Screw Attack's website, it was someone actually was it wasn't a Naruto art, because a Naruto would usually say, like, I'm guessing you've seen Naruto arts before because they're all over the internet.
Well, yes, I've gotten to know a lot of them as of late. Most recently, I've gotten to notice them. I got to notice these people quite recently.
Yeah, I've definitely seen them on different videos for different things. But here's what I usually it wasn't a Naruto art, it was an actual person who, like us, would state the facts, would actually be trying to be as adult-like as we can when we, like, not trying to rage too much. But he actually used a few points, and if I pull it up real quick, I can't really pull it up real quick, but I remember one of the facts that Gaara had a few things over Toph, and Toph really, the only real advantage that Toph has is that she can really bend better, I guess, because, like, we've seen her learn very quickly. In fact, honestly, if she would have learned, if she was the Avatar, she probably would have learned all the abilities even quicker than Aang. So,
I don't know. I don't know about that, since she is blind after all.
Yeah, true. But, like, we've seen, like, blindness doesn't even handicap her that much. Like,
Well, yeah, but in airbending it would.
Well, of course, because, like, the air and everything else would probably affect her that way, but, like, I don't know if it was a non-canon feat. They said that she could sense things in the air.
Well, no, I'll explain it to you, man. Because a lot of people don't understand this, and a lot of people just don't know it. But the thing is, with her seismic sense, is she can see the Earth like all around her on the ground. But if someone has Earth in their hands, or they have Earth on their body, or like in Gaara's case, like I said, the gore on his back is Earth. They can see them even if they're off the ground. And also, since Gaara is made of sand, that also kind of helps her see him in the air anyways, too. So that's really the only exception. Because a lot of people use the example of Rumble 4 when Aang, easily beat Toph in that match where he just shot the air and stuff like that. But here's the thing, Aang didn't have any Earth in his hands. So that's why Toph wasn't able to see him. Where in Gaara's case, it's different. Gaara has Earth in his hands, and they showed that when they showed that example of that guy with the mask who had rocks in his hands and threw them at Toph, and that's why Toph was able to see it.
True. So now, okay, good. That was a little confusing at first, because at first I was just like, that really made no sense to me. But now I get it.
Yeah. See, it's a common mistake because a lot of people just assume, oh, well, she's blind, she can only see on the ground or stuff like that, and it's not actually true. She can see any Earth, even if it isn't on the ground. As long as it's Earth, she can see it.
Okay, well, at least I know that now, because I don't want to sound too dumb in this video. Well, I definitely, from what you just stated, that definitely does put her at an advantage to Gaara, who really can only sense chakra, and of course in that universe, there's no chakra, so there's no way that he could sense it.
Well, there is chakra, but it's not the Naruto chakra. It's the chakra that Aang got to open the 7 seals for the
that's true, isn't it?
for the
That's
guru
true,
or whatever. But it's not the same chakra, of course. But
Yeah. You just brought that up and I just remembered it. So, I don't know if that counts, though, because,
it's not the same.
that's hard to yeah. But, yeah, I don't see that counting, but, it might, because it's just like, how the Jinchuriki, when they get angry, they have a different type of chakra. Like, not a different type of chakra, just, like, a different sort of power.
Yeah, but we've only really seen the air. We've only seen Aang do it, or even Korra maybe. I'm not sure, do it because they have to lose their attachment so they can control the what's it called? Aang's what's it called? Spirit. God, I forgot the attack already. Or his God, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank right now on it. The Avatar state, that's what it's called. To control the Avatar state. He had to unlock all the 7 chakras. That's why the 1 chakra he didn't want to break, because he would have had to have let Katara go, which was his obviously love light and all that. So that's the only time we've ever really heard chakra in the Avatar universe. So I don't know if that necessarily applies to everyone in the Avatar universe, or that just applies to the Avatar. But either way, it really isn't the same chakra, so I don't know if it really counts. Anyways.
Yeah. So it probably does not count just because they're not the same. Just like if a Naruto character went to the DBZ universe, they wouldn't really be able to, if they did a genjutsu, it wouldn't really affect them as well if they were going against someone with chakra, because they have ki, not chakra. So
yeah, and I don't think it would help, because Dragon Ball Z characters would obliterate Naruto characters.
Exactly. And get ready for the Naruto. Get ready for the Naruto, right?
Oh, well, I've got to come to know them now, since they kind of just, called me an idiot for saying Toph would beat Gaara and crap, bunch of people called me an idiot. So I got to know them pretty well in this whole process before the battle was even released, and I'm still getting them. Now that it's over with.
Once I post this, I'll probably get them too, because like, freaking Naruto just like, I've seen them too many times. Like, I haven't made a full-on video on my channel about them, but I have, like, see, I haven't been in comment chains. I've been in whole different things, all about them, like freaking Goku versus Naruto, like, or Vegeta versus Sasuke. You know?
That would be a rape stomp. And you know, I like Naruto. I like Naruto's ideology. I like his backstory and stuff like that. But there's just no way he can be Goku. I'm sorry. There's no fucking way he can be Goku. You know, if you want to put him up against Nappa, there might be a chance he would win, because I guess they're at the same power level at the end of the manga. There's a chance he could beat Nappa, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like in the beginning, I thought Naruto was much weaker, but now I realize, you know, Naruto's still a strong guy. Like, just like you stated, he'd probably beat Nappa, but like, Nappa's not really tough. Like,
yeah, he's an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. He's the Raccoon of Saiyan, basically.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was a little rant.
Yeah. So yeah, what's up?
Back to Toph versus Gaara.
Okay, yeah.
So, from what we've both seen about these characters, they both seem to have some sort of handicap towards another, like what you stated about Gaara always having sand. So, he would always be able, Toph would always be able to sense Gaara. So that's always a handicap to Gaara. And I think Gaara's raw strength and intelligence is more than Toph's. I know Toph is an intelligent
Yeah,
fighter.
she's intelligent.
I'm just saying that, like, compared to Gaara, I think Gaara definitely wins in that sort of category.
I don't know. That's a tough one, because, you know, Gaara is intelligent now, but obviously in Shippuden he's intelligent. I'm referring to it because in regular Naruto he's just a ruthless killer. But in Avatar, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, she's just full of herself. She's not really that, you know, much of a strategist," and that's not true. That's not true at all. That's far from it. With her, you know, she, you know, is very smart with a lot of things throughout the season. And even in Korra, you know, she was able to outsmart Kuvira, as we all seen that, you know, to get everyone back safely. She's very smart. I mean, of course, she had her own metal bending academy in the novels, and of course, you know, she was able to have a draw with King Boomy, and you know, she was able to discover metal bending. Yeah. Yeah, and that was never to be even thought of. And yet she was able to do that, and that's pretty impressive in the Avatar universe, considering the fact in the Avatar universe, according to Legends of Korra, it's been going on for 100,000 years, the Avatar cycle. And out of all that 100,000 years of Avatars coming and going, that not one person was able to come up with metal bending until Toph came up with it. Not even Kyoshi, who lived to be like 270. You know, not one person was able to do that. That's pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah, definitely impressive. It definitely shows you that Toph is not some kind of like hard-headed person who doesn't know how to fight, who just runs into the battle. No, Toph is the type of person. She's intelligent. She does know what she's doing. She's intelligent enough to do all those things. Now, Gaara, like you said, if we're comparing, like, the same age when Gaara and Toph are the same age, like 12-year-olds, then yeah, of course Toph would win, just because Gaara's really just a ruthless killer. But, and like, at the end was really when Gaara became nicer. But anyways, if we're counting Naruto Shippuden, then definitely, like, I feel Gaara is a more intelligent fighter than Naruto Shippuden. Wasn't that the Gaara they compared?
What was it?
It was the Naruto Shippuden Gaara versus the Avatar Last Airbender Toph, correct?
Wait, Aang versus Toph?
No. The Naruto Shippuden Gaara versus Avatar The Last Airbender Toph. That was the versions they used, correct?
What they did was Death Battle used Gaara from it was all both Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and then they used Avatar Last Airbender Toph, and as well as they used material from Legends of Korra as well, which again I had no, and as well as the comics as well, the novel comics, because they did mention the King Bumi fight, which I had no problem with them using all the canon materials because again they wanted it to be fair in the sense of they wanted everyone to have all their abilities at their most peak, but people are criticizing that because they used Toph as they had her appear as a kid. They had her appear as a kid, even though that's her most famous form, is when she was 12. That's, Korra, she wasn't a main character really in Korra. She just had a couple episodes here and there. But with, and again, I had no problem with that. I had no problem with them doing that because they wanted to make it fair. They wanted them to all use their, they wanted them to have all their abilities. It's like saying that, Goku, with Goku, then he can only use Saiyan Saga. He can only use Saiyan Saga against Superman, against regular Superman. I mean, we could say that, if we did like another fight between Goku and Superman, they could do Super Saiyan God. We can't use Super Saiyan God because then we have to give Superman Prime, even though Goku is Goku and Superman has a bunch of different forms. Like Superman, and that's a comparison too, because Superman has like, I think 4 different forms, like 4 different canon forms. So it's not fair to begin with because you can only use one of those 4 Supermans, where Goku is Goku. There's only one Goku. There's no different timeline Goku. There's no different form Goku. Goku is Goku. All right, Goku is Goku.
Yeah.
So if you got to use pre-Crisis Superman, you got to have if they do it again, which I don't know if they will, but if they ever decide to do another battle between them with now Super Saiyan God, since Super Saiyan God wasn't canon back then, and not use Super Saiyan 4, which is non-canon now, anyways, and really was argumental of being canon to begin with before the Battle of Gods movie. If you do that, you have to give Goku up to Super Saiyan God against pre-Crisis Superman. Because if you give pre-Crisis Superman and then have him evolve into Superman Prime, I think it's called, then that's not fair because that's a different canon Superman. That's not the same Superman as pre-Crisis Superman. That's a different canon Superman. Where Goku, there is only one Goku. There is only one Goku. There is no different canon Goku. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and honestly, the closest thing I can say to that is Battle of Gods and GT. Like, that's the only really way you can say that different things, like, 2 different universes. Like, and compare that to, like, what you just stated, Superman was already just 4, and that's just normal, So, I honestly do think they also messed up on that one, because, like, you're comparing his speed from the Saiyan Saga to the when all of that. Like, he's never gotten faster in base, which isn't true, because we can easily see him in the Frieza Saga. And definitely, he went around Namek in 1 second. And even if that's racing speed and not fighting speed, which people would most likely get angry, which people always say those are different. And I've calculated fighting speed before, and he's very quick. And even in base form, he's faster than Superman by far. It's crazy when you think about it.
Oh yeah, but getting back to Toph and Gaara though, because we got pulled off topic with that. But yeah, I just, my personal opinion, I just don't see any possible scenario of Gaara being able to win if they use all the continuities from Toph versus Gaara, which is what they did. They used all the continuities from each universe and just put them together in their best, most famous form of what they looked like, which I have no problem with them just doing that because they were using all the continuity, so they both each had a fair chance of winning the fight. Because it would be like, oh, well, if we just use Last Airbender Toph against Naruto Gaara and Naruto Shippuden, Gaara it would be unfair because it was 3 years later after the events of the Naruto show, so it would be considered a different timeline still. Even if it's just a small amount of time skip, it's still a time skip. It doesn't matter if it's 10 years, 20 years, or even 70 years. It's still a different timeline. It's still a different timeline of Gaara's life. So that wouldn't be fair to me if they did that.
Definitely, because unlike in some other shows, like for example, I'm using DBZ as an example a lot, but like in DBZ, unlike in Naruto, where they split up the years, technically, like you said, it's a different timeline. While in the DBZ universe, I'm just using this as an example, it's really not a different timeline because it's just in the same show and universe. It's not really different at all. So that's basically what's going on here, except they can't really do that because they have to combine everything. Now, you say your opinion. I'm going to state mine here that I sort of don't see Gaara losing just because of how Gaara is, Gaara isn't really the type to jump into battles to allow them to get stronger than him. He's not really maybe the last one, because I can see that. Not really, though, because, like, you've seen Gaara how he fights. Unlike, he's not, like, the type to go in and crazy like that unless he truly is mad and angry and all of that good stuff. Bad stuff, I mean. But, Gaara's the type who's strategic. He's more strategic than most people in the Naruto universe. So you can't honestly tell me that he's going to lose that way, It just makes no sense to me.
It might have not lost that way, but I still feel at the end of the day, Toph would have still won anyways. And this could have also been just because they couldn't figure out a way of necessarily Toph being able to kill Gaara, so they had it come up that way. I don't know how they decide how they're going to have the opponent get killed, because I don't work for Death Battle, and I don't want to work for Death Battle, obviously, because I don't like them. But but I mean, that's the thing. Like, at the end of the day, I still think Toph would have beat him. It may have not been that way. That may have not been the right way for her to have won. But at the end of the day, I think she would eventually would have beaten him. Whether it would have been earthbending him to death, like they decided to do, or just, I don't know, crush him. I don't know how they would have decided how he would have lost, but I just didn't think there was a real way of winning, especially the only way I felt Gaara could have won this battle is if he killed her in the sand coffin. That was because that's his best attack, is sand coffin, sand burial. We've seen him kill countless. Well, we've seen obviously throughout the tuning exam, you've seen him easily make short work of those rain ninja, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that would have been the best way to have killed Toph. But the problem again is Toph could have either gotten out of it with this by sandbending, or just have the metal titanium armor protecting her whole body, and that's what they did there. And again, that was really the only way I could see Gaara possibly winning, and it didn't happen. And Toph won, and that's how it happened.
Yeah, definitely. I see different ways. I mean, because if you don't know, I don't know if you watched all of Naruto Shippuden through. I have not, but I spoiled stuff for myself. So I do know later on he does lose his ability to use the Shikaku.
Yeah. He lost it with the Akatsuki took it out of him.
Yeah, but even when he lost it, he was still a good fighter. That's a
Yeah, he was still a good fighter. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that helped him a bit because now he doesn't have to worry about something that could destroy the entire village. Because that the beast inside of him hated life. He wasn't like the nine-tailed fox who later on enjoyed people. Unlike the nine-tailed fox, he forever hated it. There's no other. I've never seen another place where it was just like he forgave the human race for whatever reason he hated them. I've never seen another sense of like that. So really, it just helped them in that sense.
Yeah. And another thing with Shikaku is that Shikaku, because a lot of people said, oh, why, again with the whole helping argument, why didn't he help him get more chakra? Well, Shikaku can't give Gaara more chakra like Naruto's nine-tailed fox can. It doesn't work that way. Every tailed beast is different. And, yeah, and that would be the only way he would have been able to do something for Gaara. But again, they didn't. What was it? They said he was taken out of him, which is what they did. Is that Shikaku was no longer a part of Gaara. But again, if they had used Shikaku, that would have been the only way I think they could have used him. Is that he could have just given our Gaara more chakra. But again, that would have been bullshit if they had done that because he can't do that, and that would have been out of character.
Yeah. Another thing, I mean, from what we've seen, Shikaku only helps him if Gaara allows Shikaku to take over him. Like, from what I've seen, Shikaku doesn't necessarily like Gaara. He uses him for like a mask, I guess you could say. He sort of uses him for his own purposes. Like, the only times when he's quote unquote nice to him is when Gaara allows Shikaku to take over him. Which is, doesn't necessarily mean he's going to help him all the time, So that's another thing. Just to back up your claim there, even though I'm supposed to be supporting Gaara, but I'm going to support the most logical side.
Yeah.
So yeah. The most logical part of the argument. But yeah, another thing that I can support Gaara with here is that Gaara fighting style and everything. I feel like how he is himself, because even Toph is an intelligent fighter, but there's been points where she seems a little overconfident, just because that's Toph's personality. There's nothing wrong with that. Not at all. It just means that she is at times able to be slightly overconfident.
Yep.
But that does not mean he's going to lose. I mean, she's going to lose. That just means that she would sort of not be as ready. I don't know how to explain it as well as I can, but
yeah.
But there's also different ways to explain why Gaara would win. Because Gaara's personality, fighting style, even it's like you said, we've never really seen Gaara in a state where he's able to fight hand-to-hand combat. But we know that he has to know a little bit of hand-to-hand combat because every ninja knows that sort of way. Every ninja knows. So, like you stated, if he was to die by Toph, it definitely wouldn't be like that because every ninja knows how to fight hand-to-hand combat. Like, even if we haven't seen it all, we know that they know how to do that, of course. It's not like it's impossible for him because every ninja knows how to do that. So, we can definitely say he wouldn't really die like that. Maybe if he was to die, maybe another way. Maybe Toph tricks him with metal bending. Maybe, I don't know, some other way. But I'd say not really like that. But there's other ways Gaara could have won, I feel. Like, since they were bringing up this Jinchuriki, and since they're, say, quote-unquote, they don't like to use outside help, quote-unquote.
Sometimes they do, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Like, we can say that for, Boo and Kirby.
Yeah.
Because,
That's a whole different video.
yeah, a whole different rage. Oh gosh, that rage been burning inside me. Anyways, I've been hating about that video so much. But anyways, another thing we can talk about here is that technically it's not outside help. It just means that Gaara would have to give up some of its morality to use Jigaku like that, to use its power. And of course, that might not be very well for him, because that means he wouldn't control it the best he could. It's like, even with Naruto, he was controlling it, but not to the point where he knows every single move, every single ability, not to that point. So, he would have to give up a little bit of his power for most of the people, Naruto, I guess, who are saying that, well, since they brought that up, why didn't they use it? I guess it's because of that reason, or maybe they just idiots and not at all just forgetting a point they brought up, like Vegeta versus Shadow.
Yeah. And
But,
the whole Gold Dust argument, even they brought up, oh well, how could she metal bend Gold Dust? It doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that gold is metal because has elements of metal in it because it's made by copper and iron, and they even brought this up. I mean, you don't need to go to a fictional source to figure this out. You can just go to your physics teacher and figure this one out. And if gold is made from copper and iron, then yes, Toph, in theory, in fictional theory, would be able to metal bend it, unless if both universes, physics elements are totally different from real world elements. I'm pretty sure she can metal bend Gold Dust.
yeah, because what we've seen, she's been able to metal bend different materials. Not different materials, but just metal bend different things in general. Like, in the beginning when she first showed metal bending, she was able to metal bend that. Then at the end of Avatar, she was able to metal bend right out of the ship. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. She metal bend right out of that ship, which is pretty impressive. So that's definitely another thing you bring up. That she does know how to metal bend different materials. So that's true. But another thing Gaara has is just I'm trying to think here. I'm playing a game as well, so it's not helping. But I'm gonna exit out of that. But another thing we can bring up here is that Gaara's power, raw power, I think is definitely more than Toph's. I don't know if you want to agree with that, but I feel that Gaara's pure fighting capabilities, like, you know how Goku, I need to stop using the term, but you know how Goku basically has the ability to forever train and forever get better.
Yeah.
Another reason why it's like, yeah. So, sort of like that. Like, I feel like you've never really seen Toph train much. Like, you've seen Gaara train, but like the times you've seen Toph train was, at least in the original Naruto, was just to train at the Avatar from using earthbending. I haven't seen much of Korra, so I'm not even gonna bring that up. But at least from what I've seen, you haven't really seen Toph train. Maybe this means she doesn't need to train. It just means that she just doesn't want to, and she knows that she's the best at earthbending, and she's gonna be Toph. I don't know.
Well,
But I feel that its fighting capability, fighting power is just much more than Toph. But yeah, speak on that.
yeah, I just don't know, because it's hard comparing that, but I just look at it and I just feel that Toph had way too much advantages for her not to win this battle. And again, it's not being biased or anything. It's just felt that Gaara didn't have enough to win this battle. Because he only had the sand. At the end of the day, he's only really mastered at sand, where Toph's got all these other elements, all these other side elements she can do besides her main element, which is earthbending. And I felt it just gave her a huge advantage in this fight between these two characters. So
The thing you retort with that, though, is that you could say that Toph, Gaara's, being able to his power with his sand is more than Toph's. You could say that his sand is able to crush more, is able to destroy all that. And I know that Toph is a metal bender. I know that she's very powerful in that state, in that power sense. But I feel like it depends on what you use. Like, it's unlike with Gaara, Toph uses what's around her, and because of that, I guess you could say, you could also say depending on their environment, you could say that someone might lose, because if Gaara's in a situation where there's no indication of sand at all, then he probably has less chance of winning. But if you're looking at Toph in a very watery environment with no earth, like I remember when she did bend earth in water.
You're talking about the drill episode where they were drilling Ba Sing Se, where Katara and Toph were pushing them into the hole or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, that does not mean exactly that she can earthbend in whatever environment. Because there's a thing about these what-if battles all the time. There's so much that has to go into their environment, their state of power, what version you're using of them. So, in that sense, I guess you could say both these characters have a chance of winning, just that, in your own opinion at least, that Gaara has a Toph has a better chance of winning. Well, in my opinion, it's Gaara, just because Gaara's fighting style, Gaara's knows actually how to fight, unlike what Death Battle did.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these what-if battles, too, is that when they're doing them, it's that they're trying to give everyone the most possible advantage. I mean, if we're being honest right now, Gaara probably could beat Toph if he had prep time. Like, if he had prep time and knew all the stuff that Toph knew how to do, we'd be talking about an easy Gaara victory here. But the fact of the matter is, what they do is they want them not to know each other. Like, they want them. It's basically like a blind fight, using that cliche. But that's how they want it to be. They're fighting blind, essentially. They're fighting. They don't know each other's abilities. They have to figure it out during the fight. Which Toph actually revealed to Gaara that he was blind, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because Gaara couldn't figure it out. That's what it is. It's like there's no prep time for this. If there was prep time for this, there could have been a lot of different outcomes for every death battle that they did. That's what it is. That also comes down to that too. But again, I just still could not see a way of Gaara winning in a battle like this, where it's like there's no equal playing field. There's no, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to keep it as fair as possible, based on their abilities and stuff. And, with prep time, with no prep time, they do that stuff. And it's just like, based on that, I felt Toph would win. If we were talking about some, crossover fight where they do something purposely so the person would lose, then it would be a different story we're talking about right now. But that's just how I looked at it. I thought Toph would win. She did. I'm pretty surprised Death Battle agreed with me. They usually never do. But, that's probably one shocker.
From what I've seen from the Death Battles that I actually know about characters, they usually
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, come on now. It's like, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's rare. It's rare. I mean, they're the battles I've watched. The only ones I felt they got right was this one, Ryu versus Scorpion. I thought was pretty spot on. And then I think it was Rogue versus Wonder Woman. Rogue versus Wonder Woman, I thought was pretty accurate.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was younger, I definitely knew like a lot about both sides of those two characters, Rogue and Wonder Woman, and now I'm just like, she's superhero.
And again, I liked Wonder Woman better than Rogue, but there was just no way with the powers that she had where she could just copy her powers. You know, that was gonna, help Wonder Woman out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Again, and this is just unbiased territory. I like both these characters. I mean, this is the first death battle they did where I like both characters. They all usually it's one of my favorite characters a character that I really know really good against another character that I really don't give a shit about, and the other one wins. The other one wins, and it's bull because they don't calculate, especially with Boo and Kirby. Most recently, Boo and Kirby, that was just that was just such bullshit.
Yeah. I freaking did a video on that and calculated everything, and I still got Kirby people to just say no, this is true, this is true. In the end, there was someone who actually was the only one who did it intelligently. I was just well, in the end, it would be a tie, correct? I'm just
yeah, that's another thing I thought too. It might have been a draw. Was that it could have come to a draw too, but they didn't do that. They just were like, no, Kirby's gonna fucking win. If it had been a draw, I wouldn't have had so much gripe on it as much. But the fact of the matter is, Kirby won. It should have Boo should have either won or it should have been a draw. Because there's just no way.
The only real handicap that Kirby has over Majin Buu is that the Warp Star and that Hypernova ability, I'm pretty sure it's called, or whatever the heck it's called, where it allows to kill every single atom in your body if you absorb them. But then there's the fact that Majin Buu can get out of dimensions easily. And there's also the fact where Kirby's Warp Star might be able to catch up. There's so many different things you could say for both of these things.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched the Saiyan17's video on this because he did it. He did pretty good analysis on it too about the whole Boo versus Kirby thing. And yeah, I still don't understand that one. I just still don't understand how they could have possibly given Kirby the win on that one.
Yeah, because when you think about it, Kirby, what they said, they could be able to take a planet, and I was just well, that does make sense, but you also have to consider that Majin Buu is able to freaking regenerate, and they completely ignored that. They completely ignored that Majin Buu knows how to generate.
Yeah, and they also ignored Super Boo too's existence.
Yeah, they ignored Super Boo's existence, which I don't know if most of you DBZ people know. You're most likely going to hate me for saying this, but Super Boo is in fact stronger than Majin Buu.
Yeah, Super Boo is the strongest.
Yeah. The reason why, if you're wondering why in the world I would say that, it's because if you completely forgot, then Super Boo has the power of both Kid Buu, Majin Buu, and the Kais combined into one body. And Kid Buu only has his own pure form. The only reason people say that he's stronger
because he's more dangerous. He's more dangerous, but he's not the strongest.
Yeah, because Super Buu is smarter than freaking Kid Buu. So that's why he's not as dangerous.
Yeah, because I always said that Kid Buu is more like a Terminator. He doesn't give a shit about what the hell he's destroying or whatever. He's just like he's a killing machine. He just kills whatever. He has no remorse for anything. He just wants to kill things. Or Super Boo, he kills, but he doesn't. But he, actually, has a personality and stuff like that. He talks and stuff and shit and crap like that.
Yeah, and definitely, like you saw in the freaking beginning, there's no sense where Kid Buu never spoke a single recognizable word. That's how you can definitely tell that the personality is him, because like in the freaking when he was fighting Gotenks, was it Gotenks when he said, "Alright, hotshot, so you want to fight Majin Buu," and like that was like compare that to freaking compare that to why am I forgetting so much stuff today? Compare that to I'm so bad at remembering. Compare that to other forms of it. Because even Evil Boo, well, Evil Boo never really spoke, but even Majin Buu spoke a few words. No, Kid Buu just is insane. He doesn't care about anything. That's the only reason people say that he's stronger, but that's not at all true.
So yeah, that's really about it. But for Toph and Gaara, I still say Toph would win. You think Gaara's gonna win, or still would win, but at the end of the day, it's really a tough call. But that's just what I think, based on what I think.
Both these characters have some sort of way that can beat the other in some sort of way. Because honestly, because I know Toph can sense things, but we see that Gaara is able to like fluctuate how dense his attacks are. So if he wanted to, he honestly could have made it as dense as he could and kill Toph, but that's another way. But I don't really see that happening because it would take a lot of chakra. But
yeah, and if it fails, then Toph has an easy opening again.
Yeah, so it's a really hard call to say. It's really hard. It's hard to say, honestly, it's hard to say this character has an easy winning over this character. It's always hard to say that. The reason why people like us, or the Saiyan 17, always try to disprove Death Battle, or approve them, is because we're trying to gain as much back as possible. And like Death Battle, again, not trying to hate too much on them. Who am I kidding? When I hate
Yeah, I just hate on them. I don't give a shit. I've called them out on my channel already.
Yeah, like there's like no other real way you could say that. Oh well, this character has an easy winning with this character. It's just people like us, Saiyan 17, all of those people, will always try to say this is not going to be how it works. This makes no sense whatsoever, because unfortunately that's who Death Battle is. There are people who usually takes the easy way out and tries to make the whole scenario of this character winning without observing every fact about them.
Yeah,
That's honestly why I was a little angry, because they didn't observe every fact. They even ignored some facts they stated. They like how I said about Shikaku, he never even brought that up in battle. They never stated about, Toph, all the abilities you stated that I didn't know about. It's just, they state what they need to state for a person to win. That's about it. That's what Death Battle is.
Yeah, and, I'd love to hear from the Saiyan 17 about this Death Battle, but I don't think he will, because I don't think he's a Naruto fan. I remember the one video he fucking just totally buried Madara in against Goku, so he probably won't make a video about this Death Battle, but I would love to hear what he thought about it.
Yeah, I'd like to hear it too, because he's honestly one of the only people as well who was able to intelligently compare two characters in one time.
Yeah, I was one of his. I was one of his first. I knew him like when he only had like 5 subscribers on his channel too. Like I had like Like when no one really knew about him, I knew about him. Like I was like one of his first few subscribers that subscribed to his channel. So I was like at his channel like right from the beginning before he even got really popular, and he's still stayed really consistent with his channel.
Yeah, that's the thing about Saiyan 17 as well, because he doesn't change. When someone says something stupid, he's going to bring that up.
Yeah, that's what I like about him too, because like I said, I was like one of his original subscribers before he was even that big, and now he's like I think at like 100,000 subscribers now, and I was like one of his originals. I was one of his original subscribers, so I knew him right from the beginning. So, and he's still very good with that stuff. So yeah.
That's what makes him funny at times. He just disproves everything they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is that our rant about Death Battle and pretty much everything else?
Yeah, we got a little more out of Toph for a little bit, but Toph and Gaara, but it's always good to talk about these idiots sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's about it. Comment, rate, please no hate. I don't think I actually used the F word once in this video. Which is probably a record for me if everyone that watches my channel knows that. Comment, rate. What's up? I don't know. I know I said bullshit, but that's about it, I think. That's about it, guys. This is Gohan6425.
And this is me, TheSSJEnder. I don't know about you, but I think I'll link you in my video if I can.
Okay, yeah. And that's it. We're out of here. Peace!